Most retirees worry about the dramatic threats. The market crash that wipes out their savings overnight. The bad investment that fails catastrophically. The sudden healthcare event that drains everything at once. These things happen. But they're not what destroys the most retirement wealth. What destroys the most retirement wealth doesn't announce itself. Doesn't show up clearly in any single year. Doesn't feel like a crisis when it's happening. It works slowly. In percentages so small they feel trivial. Year after year. Compounding quietly. Until 20 years later, a retiree who did everything right has significantly less than they should, and can't fully explain why. Today I'm going to show you exactly what it is, and what the people who protect themselves from it actually do. In this video I'm going to show you 3 things. First, the 4 forces that combine into the silent wealth killer, and how each one works independently. Second, what happens when all 4 work together? The compounding math that most people never calculate. Third, the single most important insight from this entire series, and the practical response that changes the outcome. This is the video that brings everything together. Stay with me through all 3. Before I show you the 4 forces, I need to show you why small percentages are far more dangerous than they appear. Because this is the mathematical foundation that makes the silent wealth killer possible. William and Edward both retired with $500,000. Same amount. Same day. Over 20 years. William's portfolio experienced 4 forces working against him. Edward's portfolio experienced the same 4 forces, but in significantly reduced form. Because Edward had planned for all 4. At the end of 20 years, William had approximately $310,000 in real purchasing power. Edward had approximately $520,000 in real purchasing power. Same starting amount. A $210,000 difference. Not from dramatically different investment returns. From 4 forces working quietly for 20 years. At seemingly small percentages. That compounded into a massive difference. Here are the 4 forces. Force 1. Inflation. Averaging 3% per year over 20 years. Does not reduce purchasing power by 60%. It reduces it by approximately 46%. Because compounding works in both directions. $500,000 in real purchasing power in year 1 becomes approximately $270,000 in real terms by year 20. If the portfolio doesn't grow faster than inflation. Force 2. Fees. Average mutual fund fees of 1% annually. Over 20 years on a growing portfolio. Reduce the final balance by approximately 17% to 20%. This is money paid to fund managers, rather than compounding for the retiree. Force 3. Taxes. Withdrawals from traditional retirement accounts. Taxed as ordinary income. At marginal rates that include the effects of RMDs and Social Security taxation. An effective rate of 20% to 25% on withdrawals. Means every dollar taken out provides 75 to 80 cents of spendable money. Force 4. Behavioral mistakes. Selling during market downturns. Moving to cash after volatility. Chasing past performance. These behaviors reduce returns by an estimated 1% to 2% annually. According to research on the gap between fund returns and investor returns. The fund earns one amount. The investor earns less. Because they buy and sell at the wrong times. Here's the twist that makes this more alarming than the individual numbers suggest. These four forces don't work independently. They compound on each other. Inflation reduces purchasing power. Fees reduce the balance available to grow. Taxes reduce spendable withdrawals. Behavioral mistakes reduce the returns that would have offset the other three. Four forces. Each seemingly manageable on its own. Combining into a silent compounding destroyer. Over 20 years. That most people never fully calculate. Until they're living the result. Now the math. The actual combined impact. Because seeing the number changes how seriously most people take each individual force. Starting with $500,000. Over 20 years. A portfolio with average market returns of 7%. Managed without attention to the four forces. Might grow to approximately $1,935,000 before the forces are applied. Now apply the four forces. Inflation reduces real purchasing power by approximately 46%. Leaving approximately $1,045,000 in real terms. Fees of 1% annually over 20 years. Reduce the balance by approximately 18%. Leaving approximately $857,000. Taxes at an effective 22% on withdrawals. Mean spendable money is approximately $668,000. Behavioral mistakes reducing returns by 1.5% annually. Reduce the final figure by an additional substantial amount. Leaving William with approximately $310,000 in real spendable retirement wealth. After 20 years. Starting from $500,000. Edward. Who used low-cost index funds? Who built a tax-diversified portfolio with Roth accounts? Who maintained his allocation through downturns? Who planned explicitly for inflation? Retained approximately $520,000 in real spendable wealth. Over the same 20 years. Same starting point. A $210,000 difference. From managing four forces. That each felt small in any given year. Here's the most important twist. The math changes dramatically. When even one of the four forces is addressed effectively. You don't need to solve all four perfectly. Reducing the impact of each by even half produces a meaningfully better outcome. Over 20 years. Now the single most important insight from this entire series. Because two series of videos about retirement and inflation come down to one central idea. The financially resilient retirees. In every video in this series, shared one characteristic above all others. They planned for the specific threats, rather than for the general idea of retirement. They didn't just ask, do I have enough saved? They asked, what will inflation do to my purchasing power over 25 years? What are the fees in my accounts and can I reduce them? What will my actual tax burden be in retirement and how can I minimize it? What behavioral tendencies do I have that might cost me during market volatility? These are not complicated questions. They don't require a finance degree. They require asking them before retirement begins, with enough time to act on the answers. Here's the most important twist. The silent wealth killer is silent. Because most people never ask the questions that would make it visible. The questions exist. The data exists. The strategies to address each force exist. What most people lack is not the tools. It's the habit of looking for threats that don't announce themselves dramatically. The ones that work slowly, in small percentages, year after year, until 20 years later, the math has already done its work. William and Edward. Same starting point. Same day. $210,000 difference after 20 years. From managing 4 forces that each felt small in any single year. This video just opened a window for you. You've seen the 4 forces, the compounding math, and the single most important insight from this entire series. What you do with that window is completely yours. Because everyone's situation is different. One question before you go. Which of the 4 forces do you think is doing the most damage? In your current financial situation? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. That completes the Inflation and Cost of Living series. Next week we begin Series 3. Debt and Credit for the 55-plus generation. Starting with why so many retirees are still in debt. And what actually works to fix it. On a fixed income. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Because that series addresses something that affects far more retirees than most people realize. See you next week. Educational content only. Not financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor.